So it's happening. Next year, I will be racing the EWS-E series in Europe. Rudders, welcome back to Sense Bikes, where you know we only talk e-bikes. And today, it's all about the next 6 to 9 months preparation for me to race the EWS-E mountain bike series next year. And you're all probably thinking, there's no way I can do that. And I'm thinking the same, but I have reached out for some pro help. Derek Teel is an ex-downhill racer that was in the Yeti team, and he has just started Dialed Health, a specific strength training conditioning program for professional and amateur cyclists. So a couple of weeks ago, I started thinking about this challenge. You know, with COVID, I've been drinking a little bit too much and I've been getting a little bit depressed about the whole situation. So I kind of thought I can go one direction and just get depressed about it all, or I can throw myself into training, making more videos for you guys, and that's what I decided to do. So I reached out to Derek and he was all over the idea. And we've actually pre-recorded this podcast that you'll be seeing next. It is a little bit longer. It's a longer format than I usually have, about 45 minutes. But we go deep into training, into food, into age-specific training, e-bike training, and you know, I think you'll really enjoy it. And also Derek has a special offer for the viewers. And riders, if you would like to get involved in this challenge, I would love it. I would love the support. The idea is to do at least one EWS-E amateur race next year in Europe. Hopefully the COVID's over and we can do it. So grab yourself some coconut water, green tea, or maybe a beer, settle down, and I think you'll enjoy this talk I have with Derek. Derek, welcome to the channel, mate, and thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me. I'm stoked to be here.
No problem. It's really good to have you here. And basically, can you tell us about your riding experience and where you are now and the new business you've started?
Yeah. So I've been riding for, it's crazy, almost 20 years now. I'm 29. So I got my first mountain bike when I was 12 and just was digging dirt jumps, you know, in the fields next to my house. That slowly rolled into like free ride stuff, wanting to be in Red Bull Rampage, just worshiping Kyle Strait and all these guys like that. And then actually starting to downhill race. And that downhill racing kind of led me through to the point, I guess I was 18, 19, 20 is when I started riding for Yeti. I was kind of on track for like the Junior Worlds Hopeful Squad. I just missed out on that one. But once I went to Yeti, then I had some injuries, started just falling in and out of the sport, and eventually found my way into personal training.
You know, I run a Ebike channel and a lot of the viewers are around 35 to 60, and we're definitely not professional cyclists. We're more like the non-professional cyclists. And, but I just thought that, you know, with this whole sort of revolution we're going through with the e-bikes, that maybe, you know, you could share a bit of your wisdom. And also, I've just hit 40. I used to be really fit. 10 years ago, I will send you a photo, man. You will freak out. Like, I really was pretty strong and pretty fit. And I moved to Spain. I broke my hip, my foot, my shoulder in a BMX accident. And then just work, and like, I seem to be training the same way and riding the same way. And I don't think I might be drinking a little bit more, but I don't think I don't know, man. I just can't seem to get it going. And I just thought it would be interesting. And if I can get something out of this training, you know, like maybe the viewers can as well.
Yeah. And I think you're in the position of a lot of people, especially in your position to, you know, where you were a past athlete, you've had that feeling before, you know what you did then, and it's not necessarily working now. So it's confusing because you want to just go back to what it was, but you know, life's different. That's kind of taking you to this path. So you almost have to do more than you did just to get back to where you were. But yeah, it's very normal, man. So you're not alone on that. And I think, Honestly, you're kind of my demographic. It seems like most people who are in your position want to ride more than they're able to because they have full-time jobs, they have families, and that makes you always kind of want to be fitter than you can be just from the amount of bike riding you can do. And that's when I love helping people, and I'm sure we'll get into that, but
Oh,
it's cool
definitely.
to give people more time efficient ways off the bike so when they
So,
jump on it, you feel good.
so you can help me. That's what you're saying.
Okay, you specifically, I'm not sure.
Yeah, come
No,
on.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, man, dude, I feel very confident. But to be honest, and just to cut to the chase, you have to do the work and you have to stay consistent. I think the biggest mistake people make is just not actually doing the work. You know, there's a ton of programs out there, some a lot better than others for your, specialty, which is e-bikes and wanting to perform on the bike. But at the end of the day, it seems like most of the people who are unhappy with results are just not sticking to it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
That so if and riders out there, if you want to go onto Dialed Health's website, I love the video, by the way. It's so professional. Like, I am a videographer, videographer, photographer, and I respect it totally. But when you go on your website, it is super professional. It gave me a feeling a little bit of you are dialed to more the professionals. So, what would your typical client be?
Yeah. Thanks a lot, by the way. We just worked super hard on getting that new
So
version of
good,
the
man.
website up.
So good.
Thanks, man. Yeah. So, uh, the typical client is kind of what you described as yourself, really. I'd say it'd be in general, middle-aged people. My split is like, 60-40 men to women at this point, which is cool because a lot of women are getting into riding and strength training for it.
Oh,
Uh,
definitely.
but really I'd say the majority are people who they honestly love to ride. It's their favorite thing to do, but they only get a chance to ride on the weekends. They only get a chance to take their mountain bike, their e-bike out on the trail on the weekend. So it kind of leaves this gap through the week. And that's where I kind of come in to fill it and make sure that when they do go on a weekend ride, they don't have to worry about their back hurting or just not feeling fit, or like you do a lot of downhill runs and you can't hang on to the bars. So uh, that's really the primary demographic.
Like me the other day, I was riding with an e-bike, and we'll get to that. But
Yeah,
e-bike's 25 kilos, and my mate was on a Santa Cruz V10, which is about 16 kilos, and we're normally, you know, kind of there. And
yeah,
I just couldn't hold on to the bike as the G forces came around the corner. I was getting like pushed off the back of the bike, and I just noticed my body got thrashed. Like, I really,
yeah,
and at that point, I was like, you know what? I have to do something because I'm a pretty okay rider. Um, but as I get older, I just think that if I don't do something now and try and really keep that or get the strength back, it's going to be downhill from here. And that's I want to ride till I'm 60 or 70, man.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
and you hit the nail on the head, man. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. The more compounded years of habits that you're going to have to fight against to kind of get to where you want. And a lot of people who haven't ridden e-bikes, I guess, don't understand that it's so much more total body than a typical bike. Because of the extra weight, you're really having to use your arms, your core, your hips, almost more so than you would on a normal bike, where typically like the limiting factor is going to be your legs. And that's unless you're just smashing downhill runs. I'd say that'd be the majority for like trail riders. So
yep.
for you to feel the way that you did is, I think, totally normal. And it's kind of why strength training is even more important for e-bikers, in a sense that you just have to work with that extra weight
It's
of
it
the bike.
it is like I say to everyone that's ridden e-bikes is like, or haven't ridden a good e-bike, or my mates that don't really like e-bikes, like, go for a ride for 3 hours, go for a proper ride
Yeah.
and really ride it hard and come back and tell me it's not a workout. It's a
Right.
full body workout. So talk me through. So basically, if I just jumped on your website and landed on it, and I was a new client, just tell me how it works. So you're pretty much offline in a way, so you have videos. Just explain that to me.
Yeah, the real goal of the website is for it to be very self-guided. Like I'd love for someone to jump on and be able to go through the entire program without needing me. However, I'm here as a resource, which I think is very important and a lot of people utilize, and it adds to the experience a lot. So, for instance, you go to the website dialedhealth.com. You can obviously see everything we have, but if you're not a member, every time you click on a workout, it's just going to send you to the pricing page because there's our paywall.
Yep.
We have a 7-day free trial, so you can jump in easily, try things out. And really, once you have access to the programs and the workouts, you have a couple options. You can either pick a program. We currently have 9, whether you have gym equipment or not, kind of based on your riding discipline and some more specifics, or we have guided workouts, which are kind of just like grab and go workouts that you can do and they're follow along. So I actually do the workout with you in real time and you
Okay,
just
cool.
press play, you go. Very limited equipment. It's either usually one piece of equipment or no equipment, and all the specifics are there: kettlebell, TRX, band, body weight, etc.
Yep.
So you have the flexibility of grab and go workouts, and then you have a full program that you can dedicate to. I even have people that kind of mix and match. So that's really where I come in to help out. So people will reach out to kind of set up their schedule with me. They'll say, hey, this is how many days a week I'm riding. These are my goals. These are injuries, this and that. What program is right for me? And I'll help guide them there.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
perfect. In the next 6 months, I would love to get back to 75 kilos. Well, I'm 85 at the moment. I would love to get back to around 75, 80. I think
Yeah.
it's possible. I don't want to lose too much strength. I don't want to just go on a stupid diet and lose all the fat and lose all the muscle at the same time. And early next year, I would love to race something. I'm thinking an EWS-E sort of amateur race, the 50, which is
Just
half.
claim it, man. You got to put it out there in the world.
I
Please do.
know, I know. I would love to do it, and next year I was granted that COVID is finished. Like anyone else that wants to join in, like, all right, I own it. I'm going to do an amateur EWS-E mountain bike race next year, and
Yes.
I will take it easy, and I'm not going to get hurt. I mean, my wife and I are a little bit worried because last time I did race BMX, I broke my hip. Not my fault at all. I was crashed into, but so at least with the EWS, there's no one you're racing with. But it's not really about winning. It's about having a goal at the end of it, and having the fact that, like, so 6 months, I want to do 3 sessions on a bike a week for 2 hours. I mean, that's my maximum I can do, and then 2 gym sessions a week. And also with this COVID in Madrid, we have a lot of cases here. I would really prefer to stay out of the gym, whether it's
Yeah.
at home or in a park. I actually have a rental bar behind me. Which,
No way. Is it hanging up? We got to see this.
I don't know if you can see it here,
No, it's just out of the screen.
but that's my. Hang on, there it is. Just put it up a little bit.
Yeah, let's see this. Oh yeah, get out of here.
That's my chin-up bar at home.
Dude, I'll tell you what. If you think racing is sketchy, that setup looks sketchier than any race I've ever done.
Dude, but it's really good because it makes you really keep your balance, like, because it's you have to hold there and really keep it straight. So yeah, but if we can do outside gym only, I reckon that's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, so we do have a couple of options, and even you just showing me that you have access to a pull-up bar is really good for me. And it's the type of information that helps me put a personal tweak on maybe someone's program.
Yep.
So for you, for instance, I think that following the no equipment program would be a really great start. And knowing that you have a pull-up bar, it'd be easy to actually have you do a set of pull-ups in between each kind of workout block that you'll have in each workout. So as you go through the rounds, you could pause, hit a set of pull-ups, jump right back in. And for you, that might be a great way to get the most of what you have. It's a simple tweak, but the no equipment program would allow you to obviously do it indoors if you wanted. You're going to use your pull-up bar, or you could do it out at the outdoor gym and use a
Yep.
pull-up bar. And that way, here's what's so cool about the no equipment program. Besides the obvious that there's no equipment, besides your added pull-up bar, they're short workouts. They're actually 30 minutes, including a warm-up and a cool down, but they're
Yep.
like a hit interval style on a timer. And I think that'd be great for you, especially at the start for the next couple months, because that would help just boost your ability to manage your heart rate on the bike.
Yep.
And it would kind of give you some of that, it would allow you to ride your e-bike faster and almost emulate like the downhill runs that you're going to be doing.
Perfect.
And so,
Sounds great.
yeah. And I will say some other programs, like typically someone who is very high volume pedaling, my road athletes, cross country racers, they don't need to spend that time with the like heart rate intensity in the gym because they're doing so much on the bike. And although you are doing it on the bike, there's still enough room for you to add on more to improve that area. And that's why it's a good fit, honestly, for you, and it'd be for a lot of e-bikers in general.
Definitely. That leads on to the next question. Are you an e-biker?
So I don't own one, but I ride them any chance I get. I'm part of the Specialized, which is great. And any event I can go to, or if I'm with a rep, I can ride it. So I've ridden e-bikes, I'd say like 5 times.
Okay, good. Do you think that, I do know a little bit about health and fitness, and definitely not a professional, but I like the fact that I can regulate my heart rate. I can really use eco, trail, or boost, which is the resistant modes in the motor. So if I'm going up a hill and I get to like 160 beats per minute, I can then put it into boost and bring my heart down, but keep on with the torque, with the same cadence. So what's your view on that? Do you think they are good training devices?
Yeah, I think absolutely. And I think it really comes down to someone's lifestyle and priorities. I think that's what it is. I mean, I have a buddy. So for one, your point about regulating your heart rate is really valid. Definitely a cool training tool. But I have a friend who, he gets out, he lives basically at the top of some sick trails he can pedal out his front door to. And a lot of times he only gets to ride after work during the week, and he has literally an hour and a half tops. So him getting an e-bike literally meant that he can now do 4 runs on the 2 tracks out his front door, opposed to doing like pushing hard for 2, and
totally.
so fast. So for him, lifestyle wise, it makes a lot of sense, and he's having fun. And like you said, he's getting a total body workout. It may not be as focused on his legs, but he's not just killing himself to get that second run in the time frame that he has. Yeah, that's what I think is so rad about e-bikes. And so this is kind of a personal thing I've noticed is, so I even have a couple in here, they bought e-bikes and their levels are different, and their fitness levels and riding intensity. So what's cool is that the husband can pedal on eco mode and the wife can be on turbo, and they can go ride together and keep up with each other. And
oh man,
he's pushing himself and she's pushing herself, and no one's getting left in the dust. I love
dude,
that.
it's the greatest equalizer ever.
Yes.
You and I, like, probably massively different in fitness. We can get on 2 e-bikes and just have a great day because it's like, it's just that equalizer. I love it. I love e-bikes.
I'm actually trying to convince, it's not going to be in the near future, but I keep telling my wife, I'm like, hey, there's a Specialized makes a Creo road bike.
That's beautiful. I know it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, okay, just start looking at this, maybe once our kids are older, out of the house, maybe once we're retired or something, this could be our thing together. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the great equalizer, man, that's so rad. And also, not to just like keep going on this point, but dude, I know older gentlemen who have such bad knees and joint issues and things they haven't been able to take care of through their life that literally stopped riding because the loops were just crushing their joints too hard. And now with e-bikes, they can go pedal the old loops that they used to. And, you know, I wouldn't want to say that it's like a crutch in that sense, but you're literally taking someone that was just going to kind of stop riding and you're giving them 10 more years on the bike, at least. Like,
Dude.
that is so freaking cool to me, you know?
So my local loop is 2 hours on an e-bike. And
Yeah.
if I'm trying to burn fat, what do you reckon I should I be trying to do interval training or just try and keep that heart rate around like, I don't know, 130, 140 for the whole 2 hours? What's your play on that?
So this fat burning zone, I think, is almost looked at in the wrong way for a lot of people. And this may not be how you're looking at it, but are you referring to burning fat as in physically burning like adipose tissue fat off of your body? Or are you wanting to burn fat as an energy source during the ride opposed to
No,
carbohydrate?
well, I just want to burn my beer gut, basically. So
Yeah.
it's
Okay, so that's the big thing about the fat burning zone that's kind of weird, is because what you're trying to do in a fat burning zone is basically stay like no more than zone 2. So this would be like 70% of your max heart rate. Okay.
okay. Yep.
Whatever that might be for whatever your max heart rate is. So quick equation for that, by the way, take 220, subtract your age. That is a kind of ballpark what your max heart rate might be.
Yep.
Um, so there's always exceptions over and under, but that'll get you close. And so if you stay 70% under that, you're going to be most likely using fat as your primary fuel source to fuel your ride that moment. So that means you are not going hard enough for your body to tap into glycogen stores and use carbohydrates for fuel.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, a lot of people have probably seen it can be difficult to even stay under that when you're out riding because it's so easy to get excited and just start riding hard. So in that sense that you'd be riding lower intensity, although you're in a fat burning zone specifically, you're going to burn overall less calories over the ride because you're not riding as hard. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, yeah, it definitely makes sense. The riders that watch the channel, I
Yeah.
think we're all very similar in the way that we probably all work a little bit too much, don't have enough time to ride, probably
Yeah.
drink a little bit too much beer and eat a bit too much. If we're going out for a 2 hour ride, what would be the best way to look at it to lose a little bit of that chunk?
So the best thing to do is going to be not really focusing on the intensity on your bike. It's going to be focusing on your calorie limit and your diet for the day in total.
Mm.
That's it.
Yeah,
Because
good
you're
point.
saying that, okay, I want to be burning fat with my bike rides, but essentially the goal with the bike rides, besides just having a blast, is to burn calories. And the overall calorie intake that you're taking is what's going to burn fat off of your body. And you take in less calories, or when you consume less calories than you're exerting, your body's going to start eating away that actual fat tissue and essentially shrinking the cells, making you look leaner, which is the real goal that you want. But
Okay.
to be honest, it doesn't matter how hard you ride. Like, I came across this problem where I was working out 7 days a week, 6 to 7 days a week, riding hard, training hard, and I was still sitting at a higher body fat than I wanted. And I'm like, I can't train harder, especially with the lifestyle and work that I'm doing. So I must be eating too much. And that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely I eat too much.
Oh, dude,
Probably.
I can out eat any ride, any ride. I just did a 100-mile ride where I climbed 8,000 vertical feet. It was a road gravel ride. Dude, I had to stop myself from going over my calorie limit because I tracked all my food that day and I had
Yeah.
like 4,000 extra calories to burn. Like, I'm a huge eater. I grew up eating just the worst food on the planet, just nacho cheese and Pop Tarts my whole upbringing and soda. And
Yeah.
so I would tell people that literally the no amount of effort you put out on the bike is going to just make you leaner unless you're accountable for the food you're taking in. And
Definitely.
that's obviously something we can talk about that I help people with.
I definitely want to commit to this and I really want to see results. And I think we are gonna get there.
We're gonna get
And so where do we start? Like I do, and you are the professional and I'm the student. Um, where do we start on this? And I do have around 5 days to commit to riding, to training,
Yep.
5 days a week. I would say 2 hours for riding for 3 sessions or whatever you think, and then 2 days for gym. Basically, I have about, 8 hours a week. And then I do go on my weekend rides, but I generally do ride my weekend rides with, I don't want to say less fit people, but I don't really want to put my gym sessions into that ride, because that ride is kind of enjoyment. And also, sometimes I go out with people that I'm helping learn to ride, and we don't do a lot of exercise. It's more a bit of a social event.
Yeah.
So I kind of think if I'd like to squeeze it into the week, like Monday to Friday, and then the weekends, if I do more, then that's a bonus.
Yeah. Yeah. So the biggest thing I'd say for you starting out is to just not do too much too soon. I watch it over and over where people have a really good idea of what the ideal training program would be. Even myself, I train 6 to 7 days a week, but I would never recommend someone starting there. Like I haven't missed a workout in literally over a year, and I could talk about that too. But it's taken so much time to get consistent and to also feel confident about my ability to stay no matter the circumstance. And I want you to build that before you add on this impossible task of now doing the same training plan as, Loic Bruni and
I can do it. I can do it.
whoever. Right. So
Yeah. No,
I would say for you is,
I get it. Yeah, don't start out too. Yeah, well, we can build on that. Maybe
yeah,
start out with the first month a little bit slower, and
yeah,
I totally agree. I just I'm coaching, teaching my mate to ride mountain bikes, and he uh, he wanted to ride a black run the other day, and I was just like, nah, man, like
yeah, you got time.
just,
You
let's
got
just
time.
let's just take it back a step.
Yeah, I wanted to dive in on your schedule a little bit more specifically because we were talking about doing the no equipment strength program. It's 2 30-minute total body sessions per week.
Yep.
Um, and so very realistic to implement, but I want you to focus on not missing, because even though it doesn't sound like that much, if you look at the month in a whole of all the extra work and volume that you'll be doing, it adds up if you don't miss a session. And I always remind people that, like, even just 2 days a week, especially with riding in between, it comes around quick. And take this from someone that I currently strength train 2 days a week, and I don't miss a workout, and it comes around quick. I'm always surprised. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I only strength train twice a week, but I feel like I'm always strength training. And it's because I am, and I just don't miss. So
Yeah,
your
yeah.
goal is going to be to focus on not missing. Even if you have to modify, do half the workout, skip a routine or skip a movement because maybe it's bothering your shoulder that day, whatever. It's about getting done exactly what you can. And
Yep.
so you also are going to have to do some research on the movements. Like, I provide videos for every single movement.
Yep.
And so the info is there, but it still takes you, some time and energy to go, okay, this is my workout. I'm going to browse through it, get an idea of the organization. I'm going to download this stopwatch. here's how I work that. And
Yep.
so there is a real process of setting it up, committing, understanding what you're doing, and then going for it. And I think for myself as the coach, I want to put more emphasis on that starting process, even on my website, so that people understand, the goal isn't to walk in the gym, sign up, pick a program, and start all within 5 minutes. It's just not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to, you got to do some research and set yourself up for success. So
It's a solid sort of plan where you go, okay, I need to set this, I need to do that, and yeah, it's commitment. Um,
yeah,
and it does seem for me, and you're 29, I believe, lucky
yep,
man. I think it's definitely got harder in the last 5 years, definitely.
yeah,
And I thought people that were saying that when they were 40 were lying, but I was
yeah,
like, oh, whatever, guys, whatever. But no, it's got harder. It's
yeah,
definitely. I have a question today. Like for today, so this week I did. I think I did 3 days. 3 days on the bike, and I did 1 day in the gym. But I missed the gym on the Tuesday, and then I did it on the Wednesday, and I was still sore this morning, and I didn't I didn't want to do the gym today because I was still a bit sore. Would you train if you're sore, or just wait another day, which will then we'll probably talk about missing that session?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You, by skipping that next workout, are going to be in the cycle of being forever sore. You have
So
to
do it
get
anyway, even if I'm
do
sore.
it. Do it
Okay.
anyways. And what I would say is do it at a lower intensity. Take your time. Maybe you extend your warm up and you make sure that I don't know if you're pointing to your chest in
Yeah,
particular,
my chest was
Derek.
really sore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
classic. It must have been a bench day.
it was just
Bench
push-ups.
Monday. Well, you know, the thing is, okay, maybe you don't go blast your chest in the next session.
Yeah.
Maybe you hit your shoulders and hit your back, which of course you're going to use your chest a little bit. It gives your upper body a chance to work, to move blood flow. Just like you're saying about recovering your foot with the e-bike, you're kind of doing the same thing with your muscles in the process of working, even opposing muscle groups. So get that session in, because if you wait until you're fully recovered every single time you train, you're never going to adapt and push through that wall.
Okay, so diet for me is a big thing because obviously I would like to get a little bit leaner, and I just don't really know what to eat before, during, and after a ride. What do you eat before, during, and after a ride? And what do you recommend your customers? Because you probably can eat more because you're lean. So what would you recommend your customers?
Yeah. So if we assume that I'm riding in the morning, uh, and this could be any time, but I'm just going to use kind of breakfast type foods here. I think a lot
Yep.
of people do their rides in the morning. So a great morning meal is going to be a pre-ride meal is going to be something that's high in carbohydrate, but has enough fiber to fill your stomach and make you feel like you have a layer to later dump in some sugars on top of. So I'll get into that in a
Okay.
second, but basically a bowl of oatmeal with blueberries, cinnamon, some sea salt, a little milk, maybe even some peanut butter to add some fat or calories. Really, the goal is carbohydrates and a little bit of fiber. The fiber makes your stomach feel good.
Yep.
If you eat too much protein before your ride, although there's some protein in the oats, there might be some in the peanut butter or whatever you add on top, the milk or whatever, a little bit's okay, but you don't want a heavy protein dense meal, because protein's not going to actually serve as fuel for your ride, and it's going to keep blood in your stomach longer because it's trying to digest it. It takes longer to digest.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Um, unless you do like a shake or something, which you could totally add. Sometimes if I know I'm a few hours out from a ride, I'll actually add some eggs or some egg whites. Again, fill me up a little bit more. I do have the protein in my system, but it's not going to bog me down. If I'm going to be eating and riding within an hour, I stick to the oats, stick to the carbohydrates and the fiber.
Good. And during the ride?
During the ride, there's a lot of options between, I'd say, the consistencies of the types of food you want, but most people are going to want to rely on carbohydrates. So there are different types of carbohydrates. Most products are just going to be kind of loaded with sugar, and it doesn't have to overdo it and go insane. You could take in, let's just say, 25 grams of carbohydrates every hour on your ride. If you're doing a 2-hour e-bike ride, that could mean that maybe you take in around 20 grams of carbohydrates
Yep.
twice throughout your ride, every 45 minutes. And then you feel fresh the whole time, and you actually end not feeling like you're racing to your next meal.
Yep.
So for example, this would be like a goo packet. It would be, I guess, insert brand here, P&G, Cliff Bar, Cliff Blocks, Jelly, Sport Beans. It
Yeah,
could
yep.
be a actual drink mix.
Yep.
So it's just something, you'll see the carbohydrates, and it's really going to be anything that's like 80 to 100 calories per serving. And
Yep.
then once you start going out for longer rides, what you're going to realize is you need more solid food. You need food that actually does have a little protein and does have more fats to tie you over. So that's where the Cliff Bars come in. That's where the Pro Bars come in, and again,
So
training
what
bar,
what
Kate
what do you
Food Bars.
what do you have on your ride?
For my rides, I always start with electrolyte mix. and I'll either drink it before or I'll have it as the first thing I start drinking while I'm riding.
Yep.
Typically, if I'm well fed before, like I had that oatmeal I was talking about, I'll choose an electrolyte mix that has 0 to, maybe 20 calories max. And
Yep.
that way I know that every liquid I take in on top of that is going to sit in my system for longer because I have those electrolytes kind of holding it in. It's just
Ah,
going to help your
interesting.
hydration throughout the whole
Yeah,
ride.
yeah, interesting. Yep.
Yeah, and you don't want the extra sugar right away. If you actually overdo sugar on your ride, it's just gonna bog you down. Trust me, I've tried it. I I try to get away with eating most sugar possible, and I know that if you're already kind of fed and you start taking in sugar before you start working, you're just gonna feel bogged down. So I say 0 cal electrolyte mix, maybe 0 to 20 range. And then I'll take in some form of like a goo or a gummy as my first option. So I really
Really?
like, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
want something that I typically like get denser and denser with my food consistencies. So a lot of times I'll go with a gel and then I'll move to like gummies and then eventually a bar. Or I'll go from uh, gummies to a waffle to a bar,
Okay.
and it just gets denser and denser. So there's
Yeah.
always a little bit of fluctuation. Obviously, the more prepared I am at home to have these things stocked determines that, because there's also been days where I just bring a banana and I have lemonade that's
And
mixed up where I have
you suffer.
honey. Well,
Yeah.
it works. And when you start tracking food and you understand that, okay, this is a carbohydrate. This is a carbohydrate. This is like the energy that this food's going to give me. You can get like kind of not, I don't want to say weirder with your combinations, but you're more flexible.
Yep.
Because when you understand, okay, a banana is 120 calories, mostly carbohydrate. It has some fiber, so it's going to fill up my stomach. The really only difference between that and a goo gel is that it has fiber in it. And it's one ingredient, probably healthy for you in the long run. Um, so sorry, I'm like making this almost more complicated, but
No,
basically I
no, no.
start with 0
That's
cal electrolytes.
yeah.
I go to like a gel or um, some type of like gummy, and then I'll go to my personal favorites at Kate's Food Bar. It's totally personal preference if you want to eat solid whole foods opposed to like the ride branded foods, because they can upset people's stomachs. That is a normal thing. But for you, I would honestly encourage you to go with a higher sugar density food, something that didn't have so much fiber, because like a date, for
Yeah, yeah.
example,
Yep.
because what you don't want to do is cause too much digestion in your stomach. And this is getting like a little advanced and extreme toward the professional side of things, but really the more solid food you take in, the more blood rush to your stomach and have to digest it.
Yep.
And the
That
slower the
makes
digestion
sense.
process is going to be. So you're going to get a slower response from the fuel going into your system, and you're going to have blood that's going from your extremities, where it should be pumping oxygen into those muscles, to your stomach, where you don't really want it. So I guarantee you'd feel better if you ate a higher sugary, dense food
I'll try that.
earlier in the ride. But like
Yeah,
choose a
yeah.
date. There's natural options, or you could just go straight up honey, straight up maple syrup. Yeah.
So basically, when I come back from a ride, I'm so hungry. I eat pretty much everything in the house. Is that something to do with me, like not eating enough during the ride? And also, what sort of workarounds would you have to not eat so much when I get home?
I would definitely encourage you to eat more on your ride, especially if it's 2 hours. Even if the intensity isn't super high, you not taking in something like an hour in is just meaning that you're going into a real deficit by the time you get home. So eating a little bit more through the ride is going to help control your craving as you walk in the door. But I would also focus on your hydration. If you really want to make sure you don't just go clean out your cupboard or your fridge right away, just, when you're just like looking for chocolate chips in the baking supplies, like you don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's me. That's me.
yeah, and I've come home from rides and literally drank maple syrup out of a bottle. I've been so bonked before. And so I totally get it. And you going and filling up like a 32-ounce glass of water first and just start chugging, it's going to fill up your stomach, make sure that, okay, maybe I was actually a little more dehydrated than I realized. And now this is like making me calm down a little bit. Your stomach's filling up.
Yeah,
Don't chug a gallon of water, make yourself puke. Honestly, I will personally drink like 32 ounces like that, no problem.
yeah.
Even if it's 16 ounces ounces, 8 ounces, put water in your mouth first. Drink
Okay.
that, and then
Yeah,
make your eating decision after that.
that's a good tip. And what's your take on beer? And what's a good alternative?
Tequila.
Tequila. Yeah.
um, Beer is awesome, man. I mean, I'll be honest, like I love alcohol. I drink
Yeah.
alcohol most nights. I usually take a month or two off of it a year.
Yeah.
Um, I think that obviously moderation is important, but it's really what alcohol does for your body that makes it so difficult to lose fat while you're drinking it. It's a lot more than just the calories that the alcohol is that contains, essentially. And a lot of it comes down to, for me, I'll just say, when I have alcohol in my system, I don't make as good as decisions. Now, I don't do anything crazy, but it might mean that the discipline I had to not go grab those chocolate chips goes away. And I've
Yeah.
experienced
Yeah.
that time and time again. And I also don't have that discernment to stop eating before I'm super full, and I'll just freaking pack food in my stomach and I eat too much. So alcohol for me typically leads to overeating and eating higher calorie foods, more or less just eating too much in general.
Yeah.
So I would say if that's something that you could relate to, that it's good to, take a week, take 2 weeks off, take a month off of alcohol, because I promise you, even though it's very difficult, it really is. It's a conscious decision every night not to do it. You'll learn a lot about yourself and your eating habits. And really, the more time you take off of it, the more you kind of recalibrate what your baseline is. So maybe I'll just say I just took 3 weeks off of drinking any alcohol. And, I had a drink almost every night since all this quarantine stuff started. I was like, all right, I'm ready to clean out my system, which I'll say 2 weeks of no alcohol, something different happens, like with clarity in your head. It's really weird.
Yeah.
And the first drink I had again, dude, I was beyond a lightweight. And I'm like, wow, I honestly don't think as much. And then the next 5 nights in a row, I've had alcohol because this was recent. And now I'm already like able to just have the 2 drinks that I normally have. So
Yeah.
it is,
You get so
it,
back into it so easily. Yeah.
yeah, you really do. But I will say it's a reminder of what is my food portion that's normal. It reminded me that I kind of found a little trick to where I know post dinner for me, if I want something sweet, I eat it immediately after dinner. I don't wait an hour to make room. That
Yeah.
helps me a lot. So yeah, I think that you can absolutely fit beer in, you can fit alcohol in, or whatever drink that you prefer, but sometimes it takes the shock of taking it away for you to make real progress with controlling your food intake.
Sure. I mean, at the moment, I'm trying to do a month off, and I kind of decided that um, I'll allow myself to do like 6 days on, and then have a couple of beers on one day on the weekend,
Yeah.
just because I think it's going to be better than fooling, going and then just not getting the goal. And I think that's a hell of a lot better than what I was doing. So I'm kind of happy with that. So if you had the perfect client, which will be me, if you could get them to do one thing consistently, what would it be?
They would never miss a workout.
So
Never.
being consistently to be consistent.
That's it, man. It would be the willingness to modify. And if that meant that your 30-minute, perfectly planned, timed, no equipment workout that day couldn't happen, and you could only do 5 minutes of push-ups and bodyweight squats, that you as the client chose to do those 5 minutes of the push-ups and bodyweight squats.
Okay, good. So if you drew a line for over the year and sort of graphed it, so if someone was putting in 100% every time of their workout, but then missed 15 workouts over the year, and then your other client was putting in 70% but never missed any workout, that would be that he would get the better outcome because he had more consistency.
Oh, dude, no doubt in my mind.
Oh,
It is
wow.
not even just about the consistency. Here's the thing. If you go hard, let's say you do perfect 75% workouts, high intensity, then you're literally just not going to be able to perform at your highest every single time. That is enough time frame to where you're already going to have workouts where you are subpar performance. So saying that you're like 100% perfect, it's unrealistic. I get what you mean by the question, but it's just not going to happen that way.
Mm.
Vice versa, if you have someone that is lowering the intensity but never misses a workout, chances are their intensity, even though it's lower, is not going to be too far off that 100% intensity person. And they've built the consistency. And chances are, because they haven't gone maybe too hard, their body's it's feeling better. Maybe they're healthier. They've been more careful with their joints and their form might be better. And essentially, they build the habit for life, you know?
Let's see. I'm trying not to miss any workout. What was
Yeah,
I going to
and
say?
your definition of missing has to change with that. You know, for me, what I said about the body weight option, going from a 30-minute perfectly planned workout to a 5-minute do what I can, drop and go,
Yep.
you didn't miss. You had
Yeah.
to modify, but you
Yeah. Yeah.
didn't miss. And it's just like with food. If you understand that, you start understanding how food works and, maybe tracking food or looking into macronutrients, you'll understand that, I have a ton of flexibility and maybe I don't have the best option, but I can do what I can. And that's what you want to, it's kind of like almost cliche. It really is to say it that way, but it's the truth.
Yeah. Small changes, and yeah, definitely. Um,
Yeah.
One other thing. Okay, so myself and the riders that watch the channel, um, we're definitely not pro athletes. But if we could change one thing on the bike and one thing off the bike to lose a bit of chunk and get a bit of fitness, what would those things be, in your opinion?
On the bike, I would recommend people to freaking pedal harder. I'm
Okay.
serious. And it's not just pedal harder, but I've done a lot of group rides. I've ridden with literally from someone first day on a mountain bike to world champions. I've ridden with everything in between.
Yep.
And so what I notice is that there's a large group of people that just never push themselves to the point of discomfort. And it's so required to learn about not only your physical capabilities, but also mentally how you can cope with it. Because people freak out when they are uncomfortable. And I noticed that a lot of people who don't push themselves don't like that feeling. But if you could go there, even if you bonk early, even if you peak too soon, or you go too hard on a climb, or you do the first half of your ride and you're like smoked, as long as you really learn from that, you'll be able to start learning more about how your body works and how your performance is. And down the road, you'll have so much more success because you'll know, okay, this is my perceived effort on this climb. This is how long it is. Here's what I can really do. Or you come across another challenging ride where you're like, oh, you know what? I've done this similar over here. I can make it happen now here. So I would say, don't push yourself to dangerous stuff. Like if you want to get faster at downhill, that is your decision. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying purely on the physical aspects of riding, push yourself more. See what you can do and learn from it.
Good
Um,
answer.
Thanks. Yeah. With the I'll just say besides don't miss, I would say to take the time. This is kind of the same answer, but I would say take the time to feel what you're doing. Take the time to go through a squat and literally think about what muscles you are contracting, what muscles you have to relax to get in a good position, where the weight is distributed in your foot. How your form is going to dictate a lot of your results. So for you to take the time to be like, wow, this is a pulling motion, I should be feeling my back on this. Or wow, you know what, when I'm doing this deadlift, I feel like I'm rounding my low back, or I feel pain here and I shouldn't. Or you know what, my glutes aren't activating the way I want. Are my shoulders packed? These are my wrists straight on a bar? Are they all limp, or my elbows out of whack? So take, accountability for how you feel every time you're doing a movement, and you'll learn so much more and probably be a lot safer and more through your workouts. Don't just jump in, blindly move and be like, oh, I did it and call it a day. Just feel it. Take the time to breathe and feel it.
I agree 100%.
I've never been asked that question, by the way. I really like that one.
Okay, so Derek, thank you so much for your time. We're pretty much all the questions are done. I am definitely 100% in for the 6-month challenge. And I'm pretty sure we can do it. I'm a little bit scared, but I like the challenge. We were talking about it before, but you do have something that you could probably offer the riders that maybe they can join along with us or something like that. So what were you thinking?
Yeah, I'd love to help everyone following your journey and who wants to jump in along with it. So you can go to dialedhealth.com and you can start a 7-day free trial. But if you use the code SB30 on the annual membership, it'll save you $30. And that's 30 American dollars. So wherever you're at, you can almost do the math there. But it'll be, lower the barrier of entry for you to get committed to an exercise program and follow along with Sam. Because he's going to be going for it, and I mean, when you see his results, you're going to wish you started sooner. So jump on it.
Definitely, and I think it was actually Derek's idea as well to do a monthly check-in, and it was his idea to do a little bit of a torture race, like a 30-minute loop of my local track, and I
Yep.
will do that this week, and I'll do my first timing. So then we have a baseline for the next month. And it's not going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be hard work. But I think that's going to be very interesting to see every month where I'm at, if I'm taking time off or putting time on. And we can have a chat every month and just sort of see. And if I do a little bit of commentating while I'm actually videotaping it, say, far out, my legs are burning here, my back's hurting, that might give you an idea of how we can change the exercise for the next month or do something different for the next month. And riders, if you want to join in on Instagram, I'll be doing the hashtag SB0 to Hero. Join in, come with the journey. We can do it together. Like, look, honestly, like, I'm not a fit person, but Derek is going to do it, man. He's going to get us in shape. And I say, man, thank you so much for your time. And riders, if you have any questions for Derek or myself, Derek's on Instagram, Dialed Health, or his website, or me, Sam's Bikes, at Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. We will answer all the questions, and we are going to get fit and ripped in 6 months, man.
It's
Definitely.
on 0 to Hero, and tag me in any story post that you do on the SB0 to Hero challenge, because I'll repost it on my story. Make sure you have encouragement, and please reach out if you have any questions. I'd love to help you set up your schedule and kind of find the right fit for you. And I also encourage you to set up a little challenge. Follow Sam's footsteps, man. Sam, you are accountable, bro. Don't let anybody down.
I'm going to do it, man. I'm going to do it.
Let's go.
You'll be shocked. I'm going to be on the podium next year, man. Definitely.
Yes.
Derek, thank you so much for the time. Riders, have any questions, hit us up, and stay safe out there, and don't miss your training session, and I'll see you next time.